Welcome to Downtime in the Apocalypse, a podcast where Ted talks and Kevin listens. I am Ted.
And I am Kevin.
Listeners, Kevin maybe watched something this week that I'm not entirely comfortable with.
All right, okay. So, say that statement one more time, please, Ted.
I am not entirely comfortable with what you made me watch this week.
All right. So first off, I didn't make you do anything. All right. I don't make you do anything.
Well, yes, but in the semi-contractual agreement you have, I watch whatever you put on, and you play, or you make characters of whatever I choose.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm not sure who has more power in this arrangement, really. But I mean, both of us have to suffer in different ways.
Yes.
Okay. So before we get into that, which is
I just want to put that right up front. Look,
right.
We're gonna go through the standard format and rations and everything. I just want to say this was unlike anything Kevin made me watch before.
Here's the thing, though. You said you prefer this over watching some other things I made.
Oh God, yes. I'm not saying it was bad.
Is it better than Andrew's recommendation?
No.
Okay. Well,
it is definitely better than Diamond Cobra.
Okay, fair enough.
I would watch.
You know what? You know what has the most? You know what has the most views on YouTube though?
Wasn't it? Isn't the first one?
No, it's Diamond Cobra.
Oh,
that's the most views. It has 85 views compared to everything else.
Who's watching this?
I don't know, but it has the most views.
Yeah, I know at least like 4 of the people watching these are my friends. I don't know how many of them are yours. I know my mother occasionally listens. I know my sister occasionally listens. I don't know who else.
None of my family listens or anything like that because most of the stuff we talk about is degenerate stuff. I don't want them listening to.
Oh, see, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, look, my family I'm surprised my sister listens to. My mother just likes to hear me talk sometimes.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
But it's not like they're interested in any of this.
That's also fair.
Yeah. So with that teaser of Uncomfortable Ted,
which is a great teaser to put into things here.
Yeah. Kevin, what have you done this week?
I'm glad you asked, Dad. So I've done a few different things. One of those things is watch terrible movies. And one of the terrible movies that I did watch is a John Travolta classic that everyone shouldn't watch, which is the Fanatic.
Never heard of it.
Okay, good. It's a Redbox produced movie, so you know it has quality to it.
Kevin?
Yeah?
I'll give you 50 cents if you can tell me what the original parent company of Redbox was.
Was it Amazon?
No, it was McDonald's.
Oh my God, that's...
They had big lobbies and wanted to put vending machines in them, but food would have been a rival for their food.
Yep.
So DVDs were the logical
conclusion.
Yeah, conclusion of that.
That's amazing. Okay, I did not know that.
It's been sold a few times since then.
Okay.
But originally, Redbox was a McDonald's
invention.
Subsidiary.
Okay, that's amazing. Wow. That explains so much when I think about the quality of their products.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Interesting enough, I've never seen a Redbox in any fast food chain, let alone McDonald's. Supermarkets, where I predominantly see them.
Yeah, mostly supermarkets and maybe the occasional just strip mall has a random one, maybe. But yeah, it seems to be primarily supermarkets.
So tell me about these wonderful Redbox movies you've seen.
Okay, I've seen just one, and it's called The Fanatic, and it's a John Travolta classic, which has him playing a mentally challenged man who is in love with a actor, and he is a fanatical fan, so he goes to his house and stalks him, and this actor just gives him no reason to continue following him. He goes so far as to threaten to shoot him with a gun. So he just keeps on bothering him. It's amazing, just because they're in LA, so they have like the street performance thing going on, where he pretends to be an English Bobby, where he does things like poppycock and things like oh look out for Jack the Ripper, like things like that, and he tries to make money by getting people to take pictures with him, like those people do. Right, like in New York, Times Square, all that kind of stuff.
This reminds me of the Joker movie.
It has like a lot of similarities with that actually, but it the only difference between this and the Joker movie is probably quality, because the Joker film is much better than this is.
Did I tell you about the date I had and watched the Joker movie?
No, you have not.
All right, I saw the Joker movie twice. Once was with a friend. I don't even remember who, which is kind of embarrassing. And the second one was on a date.
Yeah.
I met her on, I think, Bumble or something.
Okay, right. Christian
And
Mingle.
it was not Christian Mingle. But the woman I watched it with
Yeah.
thought it was the funniest movie ever.
Funniest movie ever.
Yes. Needless to say, I did not go on a second date with this woman.
Why would it be the funniest movie ever?
Cannot fathom why anyone would think that movie is funny.
Did she like did Okay, so was she just like laughing at
Yes.
Okay. What was she laughing at? Like
His failed attempts at life, him getting punched in the face as a clown.
oh, all the really depressing things?
Yes.
Oh, so would you say the Joker character is a failed clown college kind of character?
Shut up, Kevin. Needless to say, I did not go on a second date with this woman.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because, frankly, that was one of those things where I was terrified at the end.
I mean, that kind of psychosis where you're laughing at a very depressing kind of film where someone is just dying on screen and you're laughing at that, it seems a little warped.
Yes.
Just a little bit, yeah. The Fanatic, though, a film where John Travolta is acting. One of the first lines he has is like, "Oh, sorry, I had to poo." Like that's one of his first lines in the film. The film is really terrible. It's disgustingly bad. Just a bad portrayal of people with like mental illnesses, and just the whole entire like fanatic kind of ideology where people get really interested in an actor or an actress and they kind of like become obsessive and stalkerish. This film does not do anything to kind of highlight that. It just only kind of parodies it in like a really stupid and abstract way. I would not recommend this film. It's really bad. So that's my end recommendation of that. That's what I've been doing with my week. How about you, Ted?
All right, Kevin. So I
also played Valhalla, which was amazing.
Yes. So I've been continuing the things I've done last week.
Yep.
And I have now. I can't say this. I am one step away from where I got stuck on Mega Man Battle Network 3.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I remember the particular part I'm on being very hard.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have to give props to the 11-year-old version of myself who managed to beat these guys.
Right, childhood Ted.
Childhood Ted. Damn, man, you were way better at these video games than I thought, because there's a certain point where you have to beat a bunch of these evil navies to get a rank in their underworld society.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
And they are brutally difficult.
Okay, right.
And I legitimately tried to figure out how I beat these as a kid. I'm going through, it's like, did I have a strategy? I remember using these particular chips and everything.
Right. This certain, like, build,
yes,
if you will.
And
yeah.
I've been looking at them like, does this really work as good as I remember it being? Or was I just better as a kid? Or alternatively, there is one issue on the emulator I'm using, and that certain buttons are really close together, and it's hard to choose things.
Okay, so yeah, some difficulty with that. Yeah.
Right, like there's one game you can play with a few NPCs that it's basically Simon Says, and it was way easier with physical buttons. I can tell you that.
No, I can dig that. I can get that. Yeah.
Because the first guy you have to do 1 a second, and the second guy it's 99 in a minute.
Oh, okay, right.
But I remember the first time I did it, I got over 99 with the first guy. Like, it was something ridiculous rate.
Right. You were, like, much better, much faster at that, yeah.
Even as a kid, I was not particularly fast with controllers. Like, I had trouble with God of War instances where you had to just mash controllers.
Right.
It's something I've gotten better with time with.
Yeah.
Particularly because I realized eventually I could use different fingers.
Yeah. Yep. I get that. Yep.
Index fingers are at least my index finger is way better than my thumbs when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I still can't do that on the emulated version. It doesn't help that this particularly bugs me. The up button and the L button are way too close to each other.
Yeah, okay. So that makes things extra difficult.
Yes, and it's very easy to press down or up or left or right even and have it move 2 spaces instead of 1. The timing is just a little bit different than what I remember it being. so my muscle memory works a little bit against me.
Right. Well, emulators are tough just because it is like the transition between those two, and there's always like some sort of like hiccup between like an emulator and like the real version.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just going from that to like something else is
Yeah.
difficult in of itself.
Now, I'm not saying I can't beat these, but I do think I'd have to grind a little bit.
Right, to get yourself up to the level to.
There are levels exactly in this game, but to get to the right build and have the right amount
Yeah.
of money and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I can't do that. I probably will. I just haven't been in the mood because Valhalla has been in my life. And,
It's been in both of our lives,
yeah,
and
so
thank you,
yeah,
Ted.
Kevin has just played a little bit of it, and I think Kevin now understands why I like this game so much.
Here's the thing, like, I didn't understand exactly what it would be for like bar conversations and everything. I thought it would be more low key slash not wholesome, but just like different than what I imagined. And one of the characters in like the first day just like asked if you faked an orgasm, and I was like so surprised by that.
And you haven't even met the android sex worker who's a regular.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. So it's something that we're both going to continue playing, and then we might have different experiences.
I'm hoping we get different endings.
That would be nice. I would actually
I
kind of
know
like that.
there's
Yeah.
multiple endings.
Mm.
I don't know how to get them from accidentally reading a Wikipedia article because I was trying to figure out what a particular drink tasted like. I know
Yeah.
there was one way to unlock one ending, and I particularly didn't do that because I'm not sure I would have done that if I didn't read it.
Right. Right. Naturally would have gone there.
I'm still not sure if I would have though because I won't give a thing, but the guy asked for a particular type of drink,
Yeah.
and it was between two things when I was thinking about it,
Oh.
and one of them
Okay.
was the thing that unlocked the ending.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Okay. I see. That's gonna be. We're gonna be both going into this more as we kind of progress through the week and everything. So this should be interesting in and of itself. But the another thing too with Valhalla that I find very quaint and nice about it is like the first like the visuals, which remind me of kind of like a bunch of like old NES games.
Yes, they're sort of the retro style where it's intentionally invokes the idea of NES,
Yeah.
but is much higher quality.
Right. Right.
Sort of
Of
a
course.
Shovel Knight, Undertale sort of thing.
Yeah, and I was going to mention like Undertale too, where Undertale has a certain kind of meta aspect to it, and I would assume this game also has a certain meta aspect to it as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it does it well. Now, Undertale, I thought was okay. I've beat it a few times, but
yeah.
I was not entranced with it as most people were.
A lot of people were like deeply entranced into that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think this game is better already.
than Undertale. Okay.
Yes, like I said, I've beat Undertale, I think 3 times, and the first time I did something different than most people. I did a genocide run.
Oh yes. So
I did
yeah,
not intentionally do that. I accidentally killed a few people, and then I was introduced to the worst character in video game history, Sans.
yeah.
And I was told by one of my students, the only way to kill him is do a genocide run.
Ah, I see. So
And
okay.
I did it just to kill him.
Yeah.
Also, when you're killing him, he's infuriating because one, it's an incredibly difficult boss battle.
Yeah.
And number two, he mocks you. I distinctly
During the
remember.
fight. Yeah.
Well, no, even beforehand, because he remembers every attempt.
Yeah.
So at one point, he told me 17th times the charm,
Ah, God. Okay.
and then I
Yeah.
killed him because it was the charm.
Yeah. Well, eventually you'll be right about that. So I mean, I do love that kind of meta aspect to it,
Yes.
but one thing about that too is that well, if you're talking about like those type of games where they have like that meta type of feel to them, um, going through like multiple playthroughs is always very interesting. So going through Undertale multiple times and unlocking different endings and having that kind of like hard reset where you kind of like go through that. I'm kind of wondering if this game will have the same kind of feel to it.
All right, Kevin, I know exactly one thing about New Game Plus in this. Would you like to hear it? It's not that big of a spoiler at all.
Okay, yeah.
In New Game Plus, you do not have to pay your rent and bills.
Oh, so you get to do like whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's
Okay.
all I know about it.
All right. That is very interesting. Besides the fact that that goes on there, but I'm thinking of doing like a side thing, which would be very interesting, which is getting you to play some of the Persona games.
I would love that. Several friends of mine have tried to get me to play Persona.
Yeah. So going into like Persona and trying to do those kind of things would be.
I would be down.
Yeah. I mean, we have a PS4 over there, so why not?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. Kevin, shut off the recording. Let's play Persona. No, let's talk about...
Sorry, Ted. We have to talk about this wonderful movie we watched.
I don't even remember the name of this movie. But first
Verotica.
Erotica?
Verotica.
Verotica.
Because
okay.
it's violent erotica.
God damn it. All right, so if that's not enough teaser to keep listening, I don't know what is. Kevin, what rations have you had this week?
I had a few different rations. One of the biggest ones there were the drinks we tried recently, and those drinks were first the Southern Tier iced mocha.
Very good.
Yeah, which was a nitro white milk stout. Which, if you know how stouts kind of go, there's a certain kind of different variation of different kind of stouts. You have like Imperial Russian stout, you have like a American stout, you have like different things with that. White stout. But this one was very nice just because it had the nitro and the iced mocha going to it, very coffee-ish.
Yes, it was a coffee stout as well.
Yeah.
And just one thing you need to know, you have to give it a moment to settle. The amount of head on this thing initially is very large. It took longer than expected. It is worth the wait.
It gives more head than Verotica. Well, anyway. So,
no, the first scene in the
Verotica,
movie, past the intro, is a fake blowjob.
Yeah, it is, because he has like a 28-foot dick. So, anyway, let's continue on with the other rations as well. One of those other ones, too, is Lamplighter, Everything is Cake.
It is not a lie.
It is not a lie, which, unlike a lot of, I would say, chocolate or cake kind of stouts, are very much just the name of that, and then you just have to kind of just imagine what the flavor is.
I agree. So there's a wine called Cupcake.
Yeah, I know that wine, yeah.
It tastes nothing like cupcakes. It's not particularly sweet. It's not good.
No, it's very cheap, though.
It is very cheap.
Yeah, which makes up for the lies. It's like the it's like that YouTube thing where it's kind of like clickbait. Where
yes.
yeah. Like I would buy a wine that's like Cupcake.
I was expecting a sweeter thing, though.
Yeah, like much sweeter. Well, yeah.
I mean, admittedly, it was in my early 20s when I was, going over a girl I was seeing at the time and brought over some wine. I was expecting to have a good night. And then we drank the wine, and both of us did our best not to spit it out.
Yes.
And man, does that just flavor the night in such a terrible way when it's, it's romantic. Even,
sets the mood.
Yeah, cheer the wine. And then both of you start coughing and gagging suddenly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. Other than trying that, we also did the Table Talk chocolate hazelnuts stouts,
which was good.
Yeah, also very good. And
a little bit tinny.
A little bit tinny. I'm gonna. Here's the thing with I would say brand name drinks. So for example, we've had Warhead sours, not very good, just like kind of average.
Though I did have the watermelon one, and
that's the best out of the four.
Yes, and that on ice, particularly, I iced them all, was very good. I think putting beer on the rocks is underappreciated.
Okay, personally, I probably wouldn't do that too much, but I understand what you're saying.
No, see, I thought it was blasphemy for the longest time.
Yeah,
but my father did almost scientific amounts of research on this.
Right, it kind of convinced you.
Yes, and particular stouts taste way better on the rocks. Guinness on the rocks was something I thought was a terrible idea until I tried it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And I tried the two Warheads I went home with after our tasting by themselves and on the rocks.
Yeah.
And the cherry, it didn't matter that much, but the watermelon was good on its own and amazing on the rocks.
Okay, but still going off of that, the brand name drinks. I'll even go into the Dunkin' Donuts ones that I've had too. All of them kind of underwhelming. Just mainly going from the brand name to like the flavor profile and kind of combining those two together. I would say that the branding together of Table Talk and this specifically, the stout, was more on key than most things I've had.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, it wasn't the worst beer we had today by far.
No, that by far was the Narragansett. Yeah.
Yeah, that goes to Narragansett Autocracy.
Yeah.
Or Autocrat, sorry. Which I got solely because it reflects my both taste in beer and political views.
Yeah, there we are.
Because it's a coffee stout, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's not perfect. It's really bad.
Yeah, going back to it, it's like the least nice beer we've had tonight.
It is. It's not tinny. It's just flat out metallic.
Yeah.
I don't mind a little bit of a metal taste in my beers, especially canned ones. I really don't. I actually quite like that flavor.
Right. I like a red,
Yeah.
and yeah, in general. So I don't mind that kind of like flavor profile, but this in a stout specifically is not great.
No, and it was way too much.
Yeah, it was overpowering in a certain way.
Yeah, I associate that with Guinness Special Export, which is one of my favorite beers.
Okay, yeah.
But it was also, by definition, canned and like shipped forever, so I expect sort of that
Right, you have a
flavor.
certain like expectation with that.
Right, it's been in a can for a while. It's a niche product. It
Yeah,
probably was stored for a while.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. I one of the things too is Ballast Point, if you remember that. Like they had like the sculpin and like the
Yes.
yeah the habanero sculpin, all that kind of stuff. But one of the beers I tried was the Red Velvet, which is
Okay.
yeah, which they had like from what I understand, it was kind of going for like a red velvet cake kind of taste to it, and it had like beets as the kind of like the flavor, like the
Oh man, I
yeah,
wait
yeah.
when I have a beet story for you after this for my
Okay, right
rashes.
after that, yeah. I so when I bought that, I thought like I bought something that was defective. Just the way it tasted was not great, and the flavor profile was just awful. I thought I bought like something that just like went bad, and then I bought it again, and then oh no, that's the flavor profile, I guess. So it's just not good. Was not a good experience. But what about your beat
All
experience?
right, so I have two rations to talk about this week, and they're linked.
Okay, right, nice.
So my girlfriend Katie has went to see an allergist recently, and they gave her possibly the worst news an allergist can give you,
Okay.
and it was try to cut out dairy and gluten.
Mm, okay, gotcha. That's not good.
No, and that both cuts out a lot of the options,
Yeah.
raises the price,
Yep.
and lowers the taste.
Yep. All the worst kind of
Yeah,
aspects
it
there.
is the worst. Now, admittedly, we should probably be eating healthier, so this is kind of forcing us to. And in solidarity with her, I decided whenever we were together, I would also eat whatever she was eating.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice of you.
I think I'm better suited to it than she is.
Oh, like you could get more used to it than yeah, okay.
So the
Right.
first thing we had was just kind of generic pasta you get from a store, box pasta,
Right.
but it was made of like lentils and beets.
Right, instead of like the real yeah,
Yes, and
wheat.
it was okay, but it was very beety.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that
The
flavor
first
profile.
time I had beets, like as a thing, I was kind of against, and then it's grown on me quite quickly since.
Okay, right.
But when I was boiling it and straining and everything, the water was so red it looked like I was just bleeding into the sink.
Right, like the movie we just watched.
Yes, it was no. There was way more red liquid in my kitchen than there was in this movie, and which is saying something.
Oh god, that is saying something. All right, yeah.
And it was good, particularly with some olive oil and something Katie introduced me to, which is grown on me as well, nutritional yeast.
Okay, never heard of that.
All
Yeah.
right, so it's a vegan thing mostly,
Yeah.
but it's a type of yeast that's not the same type used for baking or anything or
Okay.
growing,
Right.
but it adds a flavor that comes from a particular protein, and it's the same protein that a lot of meats have.
Okay.
So it's one of the very few things that a vegan or a vegetarian can have that gives you B12 and a few other things.
Oh, right, like those very necessary kind of
Yes,
yeah.
and it's kind of cheesy. It's actually not bad at all.
Oh, I prefer cheesy, so that's
Yeah,
good.
it's better tasting than it should be. I'm still a little bit disappointed that it doesn't come in different flavors.
Right, like more variety.
I would make garlic nutritional yeast in a heartbeat, and I don't know why anyone else hasn't.
That's so smart. That's so smart, Ted. That's so freaking
I
smart.
like it's legitimately a question. It's like why don't these come? Because they are
No,
like
we're cutting this out because we're gonna make it
yeah,
ourselves.
but like it has a lot of vitamins. Like it has more like B12 is the one thing you cannot get as a vegan,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of it. It has B2, which my doctor told me to take supplements for because I get headaches and
Right.
tension headaches. The best way to avoid them is taking a B2 supplement,
Yeah.
and you
Okay.
cannot get enough B2 no matter what you eat without a supplement if you get these headaches.
Right.
But this has so much of it. Like 2 tablespoons has like 5 times the daily recommended amount,
Oh, I
which
see.
is
Okay.
almost as much as the supplement I take.
Ah, okay. Understood.
Plus, it
Yeah.
tastes good on pasta or potatoes or popcorn.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. I'll bring some over next time, Kevin. It's worth trying.
I wouldn't mind trying that. That sounds like a
Yeah,
great
the
idea.
name makes it sound way worse than it is.
Okay, what's the name?
Nutritional yeast.
Uh,
That's an awful name. No one wants to eat nutritional yeast. I think I'm going to get an infection from it.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Oh God, that name is terrible.
Cheese yeast would be better.
Oh yeah,
Cheesy yeast.
Yeah, you know what?
I would eat cheese. I would at least try cheesy yeast as a vegan alternative to powdered cheese.
I wouldn't mind trying that. It sounds like something that would be on like a commercial or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like cheesy yeast. The better alternative, like something like that.
It's like cheese, but with 40 calories and a ton of vitamins.
Yeah, you know what? Much better. Okay, I can dig that. So that was the one thing. What was the other?
So today I went with her and a friend of mine, Andrew, and Hillary, for that matter. Basically, I've seen my entire RPG party today. I did not know Hillary was going to come until this morning, which I was a bit surprised on.
Yeah,
could have invited Kevin and had the whole gang there.
Ah, that would have been nice.
Sorry, Kevin, I did not think about the time.
That's fine.
But we went to Red Robin.
Oh, nice. Yum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Katie had to get a dairy-free, gluten-free burger.
Oh, okay.
And she did. But she had to get rid of the bun and get a lettuce wrap.
Oh, okay.
Now, I think I eat way more salads than her.
Yeah.
Because I've had that before.
Right.
And I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, and she did not.
She did not. Now, it is way more lettuce than you'd expect it to be. It is like half a head of lettuce.
Okay, right.
And she got the barbecue burger, and I got the bonsai burger. And the bonsai burger is way too saucy for this.
Oh, yeah.
I got the Burning Love burger the first time I had it, and that worked perfectly with it.
Right, complimented that enough.
Now,
yeah.
I'm not saying it was bad. Actually, it was very good.
Yeah.
I just had to eat it with a knife and fork because of the way the sauce stuck to the lettuce.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah.
She was not happy with her burger in any way.
That's fair. That's fair. Going from, okay, I understand that completely. Yeah.
This is one of those things where it's like, I think I could adjust to this better than she could because I've just gotten used to eating salads a lot.
Right, more than she has. Yeah.
Especially because at work with our old chef, there was very often not a vegetarian alternative unless it was just salad.
Right. Okay.
So I had fairly generic salads for dinner a lot over the last few years, and having a bonsai burger salad.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
No, especially because the Impossible Patty is there.
Oh, okay, even better.
Their Impossible Patty is by far the best.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what the difference is precisely between theirs and the Burger King variety.
Well, I'm assuming like fast food compared to like a more standard
I just
restaurant.
don't know if they order from the same company or whatever, or if they just pay extra for a better one.
Yeah.
Maybe they marinate it slightly. I don't know.
That could also be the case.
But theirs is just better, and Burger King's is still very good.
Yeah. All right. So I have to still try that, like the Beyond Meat burger. I've never tried that before.
Yeah.
So,
What are you doing tomorrow?
Nothing much.
I think we're going out for lunch tomorrow.
Why not? All right.
It is worth try. Red Robin is one of my favorite chain restaurants.
Yeah.
Another thing about them that I like, I've probably mentioned this before, they have way too good cocktails for what they are.
Oh, yeah.
Their margaritas are amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the best margaritas I've had in my life have come from Red Robin.
Of all places, yeah.
It doesn't seem right to say that.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So we went over our weeks, we went over the rations and everything.
Yes.
We have to eventually go over the probably best thing we've seen this whole entire week, which is Verotika, my friend.
One second. I have to go over what I've seen this week.
Okay.
It's definitely not the best thing.
Okay, fair enough.
I've seen most of season 8 of The Simpsons this week.
Well, it's hard to compare that to like this indie film.
Yes. Admittedly, the reason I watched it was I worked my normal 16 hours on Saturday.
Ah, yes.
And unless Katie has something she wants to watch on Sunday, I just put on something enjoyable, what I've seen before, or is fairly mindless.
Right.
We watched about a season of The Simpsons.
I mean, if you want to watch mindless, yeah.
It was funny seeing her get more and more interested.
Oh, as like time went on through the season?
She very clearly was just passively listening to it, but didn't mind it.
Okay, yeah.
And then I don't know if she even realized it, she was watching more and more of it as the day went on. It was just funny seeing her flicker her eyes up from her Switch while playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Progressively more as the season went on.
Right, like paying more and more attention as like things go progress there. let me ask you a quick question here, because we've watched like I would say, fair amount of like television between the two of us, like at least 20 years of it basically. But I mean,
Yeah, 28. Well,
I wouldn't say I've spent like a lot of time watching television, probably less than the average human being.
I've definitely spent less time than the average human,
Yeah,
but that's not like I've just transferred to different things.
I mean, to me myself, like when you compare like a kid to like the average like work week and everything, right? Most kids like kind of stay at home while their parents like work and everything. A lot of my time has been like spent going to the workplace I go to, especially like a
Yeah,
small
the
business.
dojo and everything.
Yeah, and dojo. But one of the sorry, no, I always do that. But one of the things was like we always spent time together, just like during the whole entire day, basically until like 8 o'clock. So most like TV I would watch is basically before that or after that.
So I watched way more TV than the average person did. Only child. My dad worked a lot. I really liked my shows. It didn't, that sort of thing. Up until I hit 18 and suddenly just stopped watching shows.
Okay, yeah, no, I get you. I
I watched
yeah,
maybe a, like 6 hours of YouTube and TV a week for like 5 years, and then the last few years, my YouTube consumption has just gone through the roof.
I no, well, same here. Just like the amount of like television I've watched has de-escalated significantly to the amount of YouTube I've watched, which has
Yes,
escalated like a lot.
and
Yeah.
even then, my YouTube has gone down quite a bit recently,
Mm.
basically because I've watched all the things I'm interested in, and the production of new stuff is just way slower than I want it to be.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's very fair.
I just switched to podcast, which there was a nice backlog of.
No, I totally get that.
So, Ken, what was the point of this?
The point of this was just to kind of go into media in general there, just for a second or two.
Okay, yeah, just talk to our media consumption. I mean, the entire point of this podcast is how little classic media I have consumed versus the amount of niche media I have consumed.
Yeah, which far outweighs the other. But going from that, we have watched a recent indie film called Verotica.
All right, look, I'm gonna grab the box and just read the back.
Okay, go for it. Yeah. Ted's walking on over. He's looking for the box. It's on the ground in front of him. Yeah, well, it's right
It's
there.
not the box, but it's the cardboard
Outer shell
outer shell.
of
Thank
the
you, Kevin.
box. Yeah, the facade.
The facade. Verotica is a creepy, surreal, and bloody trilogy of erotic horror stories culled from Danzig's long-running edgy comic book imprint Verotica,
Yeah, which is like a good old comic series there.
which
Guys,
I've never heard of, and I swear I didn't mispronounce, but it feels like I missed a word there.
okay. So let me ask you a few questions there really quickly, Ted. Is Veronica creepy?
Yes, absolutely creepy.
Or is it surreal?
Yes,
Okay. Is it bloody?
absolutely.
Okay. All right, those are
Is
the
it
questions.
erotic? Also, yes.
Yeah, in
Is
a way.
it quality? No.
Well, okay. So let's get into that.
Okay. Do we want to? No. I think we should go through the 3.25 stories in this.
I would say 2.25 stories, really, because the last story didn't have anything going on with it.
Okay. So first off, the first thing you see is this woman.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she's naked or just mostly naked, with chained to a wall,
No, this is Verotica. Most of them are mostly naked.
and this succubus, a
Ah,
woman with tiefling woman with horns.
one with like, let's
And-
let's go
and-
with tiefling because our audience knows what that is.
Yeah, and St. Peter's cross tattoos under her eyes.
Yeah, so she's very religious,
Yes, comes over and just gouges out her eyes with her nails,
as you do.
and then introduces the first movie.
Right. So okay, this is like obviously a reference to like the sci-fi stories of like Tales from a Crypt, or like even those older horror kind of films where you have like the Elvira kind of thing going on with it. It's very similar to that.
If you don't know any of those, like I didn't until I heard about it from a different media, think Ned from the Adventure Zone Amnesty.
Ah, that's even better, really. Okay.
His name is Ned, right?
Yeah, I believe it's Ned. Yeah, I think you're right. So
Well, when Clint was talking about influence of the character. That was the first time I found out these things existed.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But she is basically a much sexier Crypt Keeper.
yeah, she's much sexier Crypt Creeper with skin. So there's that going on. Um, let's go over the first story, which is the
Do these
most.
stories have names?
Yeah, they do. It's like the white spider or something similar
Okay.
to that. Yeah.
So it starts off in Paris, and you can tell that because they're speaking English with a bad French accent.
Well, obviously.
And I'm pretty sure every woman in this movie, and possibly most of the men, are porn actors.
You would be right.
Now, it shows this woman who is well endowed, let's say,
Yeah, I would say very well endowed. Yeah.
with pixie cut and blue hair,
Pink hair.
pink hair, my bad,
Pink hair. Yeah.
not performing fellatio. And by that I mean, very clearly the scene is supposed to be oral sex,
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be. Yeah.
but her head is about a foot and a half above his waist.
Well,
And when
he
they
might be well hung. You don't know that,
He'd
Ted.
have to be a horse.
You would have a horse of a man in France. We.
And then they start making out, and of course his pants are zipped, buckled, and belted.
Yeah, so you know that a fellatio went on.
Of course. And they start making out, and things are getting hot and heavy.
Yeah.
So
Hot and heavy, right out the kitchen. Yeah.
he starts taking off her shirt, as you do in these instances.
Yeah. You want to take off? Well, her assets are so well pronounced that you would want to do definitely that. So that's fair.
I mean, that's kind of part of the process. Kevin is getting naked.
No, definitely. But I'm just saying, like, in a woman who has those kind of assets, yes,
And she is resisting this.
for a decent reason, you could say.
Eventually, he does get her shirt off, and instead of nipples, she has eyes.
So, Ted, would you say she has Tit-Eyes?
I would never say that, Kevin, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, saying.
I am refusing to say that.
You're using to say Tit-Eyes? All right, so she does have tits with eyes.
She has ocular nipples.
She has ocular nipples, as the scientific community would say. I agree. Right.
And this man is freaked the hell out by this.
Understandably so. I mean, if I was in the same kind of situation, I would also be kind of freaked out by that.
I feel like this is something you have to bring up to your partner beforehand.
Like, oh yeah, previously on. There should have been like a whole story where she goes like beforehand, where she says something about that.
It is important to have verbal communication with any potential sexual partner.
I agree. Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
Yeah, that's just part of a healthy relationship. Even if it's only one night, it's important to know these things.
Yeah, if you have eyes for tits. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, Ted. Go on.
It's such a weird thing.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
he runs out, and she cries, and then a friend of hers comes in.
Yeah, like next room down, best friend.
Who is in some BDSM gear.
She's not really in BDSM gear. She's just like in for some reason she comes out with just like a bikini top and like
a Hot Topic bikini.
Yeah, like it's very obviously a Hot Topic bikini they bought.
And they talk
in terrible French accents.
Yeah, and the star of the show, who's I don't know what her name is.
Well, it doesn't matter. She
says it happened again, and her friend's trying to comfort her, saying, "Well, he's a sensitive asshole, anyways. Don't
he's
cry,
a
your eyes
pig,
will get
chauvinist
puffy.
pig. Yeah.
And we have a shoot tomorrow, so don't worry." And then she leaves, and then our main character starts crying, and
from her eyes and her
nipples.
Yeah, her Tit-Eyes. Yes, she cries from both ends.
Does she actually cry from her face? I don't remember seeing any tears from her face.
Yes, I saw some like lines. I don't think she could physically cry because she's not a very good actress, but she did have tear lines or something similar on her eyes and also on her eyes, which come from her boobs.
All right. So this is where we go to a thing that has been happening that we haven't mentioned. There's been weird zoom-ins on a spider.
Yeah, a very poorly animated CGI spider.
Who is on a rose about 8 feet away from her and climbing up. And this spider and the rose apparently teleported underneath her breasts.
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
God,
yeah.
I hate that I have to say this.
Yeah.
And one of her breast tears falls on this spider.
So, okay. So here's something we can kind of like imagine. So let's go from a certain perspective here, Ted.
I have no idea where Kevin's going with
I
this.
I don't either. But we have a white rose with a white spider on top of it, and we've got that on to the upper right of her, basically, if we're going from like where she is sitting. Her breasts are so big and so bountiful that if a tear goes from her breast, it jumps from like, where she's sitting and goes all the way down to where the spider is, which is on top of the white rose, and then kills the spider. But then
It does not kill the spider. It transforms the spider.
right.
The
I assume
spider's
it's dead and then
facade
comes
becomes
back.
its morphous,
Okay, fair enough.
and he
Yeah.
becomes a six-armed murder clown.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's definitely six armed, and yeah. Here's the funny thing about the spider clown. I love how he has two arms, and then the rest of his arms are just stagnant on his body that never move.
Oh, they move when groping.
Well, yeah, when groping, they have to have the right kind of motivation to it. So otherwise, they're
Look,
like
he has two dominant arms, and
it's
then
two dominant arms.
two pairs of off arms.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So like this isn't a D&D thing, at least in the older editions, like
Yeah.
3.53. If you had multiple pairs of arms, you'd have one dominant arm, and the rest were all off arms. So
Makes sense.
yeah, you had one good arm, and all the rest were like your left hand.
That does actually make sense when you think about it, Ted.
Oh, I always thought it would be more accurate to have like dominant side for all of them,
Right, like the right side compared to like the left side. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, that
or like have a dominant pair, or
yeah.
even have like dominant arms per pair, but not necessarily have them be symmetrical.
I know. I agree with that. Just depends on what you use them for.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Right. It's definitely neither here nor there.
This spider being is apparently a manifestation of her id and only appears while she's asleep.
Yeah.
And
Understandable and basic. Understandable.
exactly, perfectly logical, completely normal. So of course, while she's taking a nap, the
Id spider.
id spider,
Spider id.
spider id,
Spider id. Kills what your mind can't find. Like so
goes out
yeah.
and kills her best friend.
Obviously. Right. Well, before the okay, so and here's where we've had like the biggest kind of disagreement over things, Ted. So let's go over the discussion of beer or milk.
Right. So
Okay.
it goes to her best friend and just kind of cuts that before the murder.
Yep. Going to the
And
fridge.
She's going to the fridge and just says out loud, beer or milk?
In a French
I
accent.
can't do French accents, but I can do bad German.
I mean, your French accent would probably be better than hers. Which, by the way, they were coached by a French accent person for like 2 weeks.
God, that seems like a waste of money.
It was. It was probably a money laundering scheme.
I assume most bad movies are money laundering schemes.
I don't doubt that at all. Yeah.
I also assume the most about like package stores and independent convenience stores.
Okay. Okay. That's a different discussion.
I think a lot of things are money laundering.
That's probably more true than not, honestly. But okay, so
But she's debating between beer or milk, and then this growth spider comes up and molests her, and then cracks her neck
yeah, goes
into separate pieces.
well, yeah, and okay. So here's the thing, Ted, that we kind of disagree about. I think the line milk or beer is a very odd line.
I think it's a perfectly normal thought that was a bit weird when said out loud,
Okay,
especially alone in your own house. I've went to a fridge and thought milk or beer. I've had that thought before.
I don't think anyone has ever had that thought before, Ted.
No, in fact, I intentionally did it one time because I was playing Mass Effect 3 with a few friends of mine. We
Okay,
used to do this on a daily regiment,
yeah,
and we'd all have drinks of the day.
okay, right.
And normally they were alcohol, and one time I just came out and said, and tonight's drink is milk.
Okay, yep, okay.
It was really funny because then like two of the guys were like, damn, I could go for some milk right now.
All right, you know what? All right, fair enough, Ted. Fair enough.
So I have gone to a fridge thinking, beer, and went, ooh, milk.
Yeah, and gone for that
Which is a
instead.
very similar thought.
Okay. You know what? Fair enough.
Not the exact same, but it was close enough where I went, not the beer, not the vodka, definitely have you a glass of milk
milk.
tonight.
Yeah. All right. So you know what's interesting about that scene is that the after effects of the scene, after the albino spider goes up and chokes her to death, he then goes and proceeds to create an elaborate fake suicide where she's hung by a rope, and he doesn't bother to do that with any other victim for some reason.
No, it's very strange.
Yeah. It's almost like the movie doesn't make sense in a certain way. But I wouldn't say that. The movie's perfect. But going from there,
So apparently, the main character,
yeah.
Nicholas Oculus,
I was gonna say like Pixie Bob.
Pixie Bob. That's much better.
Yeah.
Pixie Bob goes to her porno shoot the next day.
Why do you say it's a porno shoot, Ted?
Their outfits.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean that's fair.
I mean, it's definitely modeling.
Yeah, well, it's modeling of a more risque nature.
Yes. Fun fact, Kevin: if you're not sure if someone's a prostitute or not, and you don't want to get caught with prostitution, do not say you're hiring them for sex. Ask them to do some nude modeling. Because that's perfectly legal. But if it's a cop, they're probably not going to do it.
Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
I saw that on a TV show, and I cannot remember why they were talking about it, but they just said it in like such an instruction manual manner that it's burned into my brain.
Okay, that's yeah, that's fair enough. All right, fine. Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah, that was not a thought I had. I'm not that clever.
You're pretty clever though, Ted. I'll
Yeah,
give you
but I
that.
have not thought of, how can I distinguish a prostitute from a police officer? I value my health more than that to hire prostitutes.
Well, Ted, you've never been in that kind of situation before, I would say, where you had to think about that as a thing. I think if there was an alternate universe Ted that was a pimp, that he would think of this kind of
Yes,
thing.
anti-veggie Ted.
Yeah, well, we have what's the three we have so far? We have Christian Ted,
I thought that was veggie Ted.
Veggie Tail Ted. That's why.
Yeah, veggie
Okay.
Ted, yeah.
So we have Veggie Tail Ted. What is the current Ted we have right now then? Like you, Ted.
Grand Elder.
Grand
Or
Elder.
High Elder Ted, sorry.
High Elder Ted, and we have anti-Veggie Tail Ted, who just hated everything from
We
Veggie
need
Tales.
to give him a better name than anti-veggie
Veggie
Tail.
Tail Ted. Yeah, maybe like I don't know. We have to think about this more off the podcast, I think. But
I think Pimp Ted would be a good way of putting it.
Pimp Ted, or like Prostitute Ted, or
I
like
prefer Pimp Ted.
I mean, I would prefer Prostitute Ted, but I mean, we're both with our own kind of different kind of ideas on that. Vigilante Ted.
Okay, yeah. That implies he does like vigilante work.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So
against the law.
Pimp by day, vigilante
Maybe
by
by
night.
nights. They kind of balance each other out. All right.
I rob from my bitches and give
to the poor. Oh, dude, it would be amazing if we made like a Fate accelerated version of like Vigilante Ted.
Fate Accelerated is such a fun system.
I can imagine one of the things being like Pimpin' Ain't Easy.
Alright, we got to get back to this awful movie.
Yeah.
She has to leave the porno shoot early because she's crying about how her dreams make a spider demon kill people.
Yeah, which everyone else kind of goes like, well, you were with us the whole entire time, and nothing happened while you were with us. You were just sleeping, and some people died. I don't think you have anything to do with it.
Yeah, causation is not correlation.
Well, yeah. Also, the fact that one of my favorite scenes in the film also happens during that time, which is the spider.
She takes a nap before her porno shoot.
Well, as you do.
And the spider demon strikes again. Kevin, please go through the scene.
Oh, okay, so the spider demon comes upon like an alley with a prostitute, a hua, as some people would say. And then he goes into like a dialogue with her. So the dialogue is basically like, "Oh, monsieur, how are you feeling today?" And he's like, "Well, I feel like having sex with a prostitute." Well, and
I would like to fuck you in the ass.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Ah, ass fuck is my specialty," which
she does actually say that.
Like that too, which is one of my favorite lines ever. I watched this with like a few friends of mine, and just occasionally, like when they ask me something like, "Oh, Kevin, what do you want to eat?" Like, "Oh, ass fuck is my specialty," and I just go with that instead of answering them. Actually, no, it's one of my favorite lines in film is this. It's amazing because it's so terrible.
So then the spider demon decides after saying
Asmodeus.
says, and then after that, I'd like to hear the sound of your neck break.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, you're joking, right, monsieur?"
All right, look, if I was a prostitute and someone said, and then I want to see you in any sort of dead
Yeah, like
state,
I want to break your neck, like
that's when you
run. Yeah, that's when you kind of go like, "Well, today isn't a good day. I better run because this guy wants to kill me."
So, anyways, he does exactly what he says he's going to do.
Yeah, and then she wakes up and says the most believable line of "No."
Yes, that's Pixie Bob that says that, by the way.
Yeah, Pixie Bob says that several times throughout the film, and it's always amazing because she's such a bad actress. It's amazing.
After this, Pixie Bob decides she needs to stay awake, so she goes into a cafe.
Well, before she even does that, she goes to like a porno theater.
Oh, that's right. She watches a porno theater and nearly gets sexually assaulted.
After albino spider tries to kill another woman, but I mean that's not here nor there. But then yeah, eventually she decides to go to a cafe instead of a porno theater.
Yeah, gets a lot more coffee.
Yeah. Well, we assume she gets more coffee.
Yeah, there's a weird thing where she walks in. There's already a cup on the table.
Yep.
And then a guy says, "We're closing. Do you want a refill?"
Yeah, and then not even a refill, like refill, like that kind of thing. But she just eventually says no. We never actually see her physically drink any coffee to stay awake.
No.
No.
It's assumed. Like I came up with the idea that there was a time skip and we didn't see her come in. When we see her walking to the table, it's her coming back from the bathroom or something, because the cup's already there.
Yeah, it's already on the table before she even like sits at the table.
But that's probably giving this movie way too much credit.
I honestly, Ted, I think you're trying to like I think you're like a producer or something with it, just because you seem to be trying to give this movie much more credit than it deserves.
Kevin, I think a theme of this is I always try to make things better than they are.
Yeah, actually, that's actually, yeah, you're right. Whenever we watch a film
or play a game,
you try and think of some sort of reasoning as to why this stupid thing exists in
or
the
a
game.
small reason or a small thing that would make it way better.
Yeah, that's true. You know what, Ted? You're right. I'm sorry for doubting you for a second there.
And that's just a way, like, if we heard a flushing toilet and then walking, it would have explained why that was there.
Why the cup was there, and then why she had that whole entire conversation, and would explain everything. Yeah, no, I agree. So after she goes back from the diner, she eventually goes back to her apartment.
Yes, where she calls the police and says there's a murder.
Yes, a murder suspect or a murder victim or whatever.
And then she apparently overdoses on a drug. We don't see her taking any.
No, but she does ask the question, what does she want to drink with it?
True. Which I suppose if I was about to overdose and this would be the last thing I ever have,
yeah,
I might wonder what I was going to have.
I mean, yeah, I would also think that too. Like, what? Okay, so let's go out of the movie for a second here. You're about to overdose. What do you have to drink right before you try and do that?
Strawberry martini.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say old fashioned. I feel like that's a classy way to go out.
Yeah, no, I just want something overly sweet.
Overly sweet to go with the pills? Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I almost always take my medication with coffee.
Yeah, no, same
so
here.
I want something a little bit... I want actually the exact opposite of that.
Right, something like parallel to that, basically. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So she takes this medication, and the way that I guess like the rules work in this film is that if she's asleep, the Spider-Man stays within like the physical realm.
Yeah, I don't know. He only really appears when she's asleep.
Okay, so if she's asleep and dead, apparently.
Well, she's not dead yet.
No,
she's dying.
Right.
And while she's dying, she's asleep. And the police come.
Yeah.
She's unconscious. She's in the dying state in D&D. She
has
to have every turn, or else she loses a hit point. When she hits -10, she's dead.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
The police come. There's 3 of them. They all have guns, which is interesting for France.
Yeah, well, very interesting.
They need to break down the door, so they take out a battering ram and very gingerly tap the door several times until it breaks.
Well, yeah, because the door's not made out of wood or like any sort of strong substance, so you can't hit it too hard. You have to just sort of like motion with it and just go like ba-boom, ba-boom, like that.
I've seen a massage therapist a few times get the kinks out of my back.
Yeah, and they hit harder than...
She has put way more pressure on my back for medical purposes than
a police officer trying to break down a door. Oh, dude, that's really funny, actually. Okay. So they do eventually break down the door, and then they come inside, and then they see a six-armed man, a Spider-Man, if you
Yes,
will,
and in
Spider-Man.
her conscious,
Yeah,
this spider thing
person.
is like attacking her. It's like, what have you done?
Yeah,
But apparently he can
you fool.
exist in two places at once,
Yeah,
both in her mind and in reality.
right.
And the police see this thing and just start shooting it.
Well, okay. So first things first. It kind of like charges at them like in a
Not really.
very
It doesn't get that close to them.
it sort of like walks towards them like two steps, and then they just shoot it in the heart 3 or 4 times
Yes, which it
each
is 2 or 3 times each, and I feel like that is not nearly enough times
to kill it.
No, not to kill it. If this thing was in the same room as me,
Right.
I would have unloaded my gun until it, didn't fire a few times, and then chucked the pistol at it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Like if I was in the same kind of or a similar
there
situation.
is no situation where I do not unload everything I have against this and then chuck it at them.
This does like make an interesting world about France, where apparently a six-armed man is not that strange.
Yeah, the police were very professional about this.
And reacted very like, oh, we killed the neck breaker
because that's what they started
the
calling
neck
it.
breaker. Yeah.
And that's the end.
Yep. And then you get one more vision of her Tit-Eye. Singular.
Yeah, we still don't know why she has eye tits.
I mean, okay, so okay, let's try to extract some meaning from this film. Okay?
No, but okay.
Okay, fine. So what are nipples for?
Feeding life, feeding newborns.
Okay.
So yes, I guess if you're really trying to get like breasts as a symbol for life and vitality and
Yeah.
making a person.
Yeah. The tears of that eye.
Yes, make a person in a way.
A spider person.
Yep, that's where this kind of loses anything I can extrapolate.
Yeah, at that point, it kind of loses a lot of meaning.
Yeah,
but
you can say that breasts are part of the development of a life and everything.
Right. Okay. So.
But why their eye nipples?
All right. I can think of some things here. All right. So eyes are the gateway to the soul.
Yep.
So my eyes are up here, which are at her nipples. So her gateway to her soul is through her nipples, or she has multiple souls, or
that'd be interesting at least.
Yeah.
Like the spider was one of her souls.
Oh yeah, because like it went from there. Yeah.
And like the primal part of her is from the part that invokes lust. Perhaps?
Yeah, lust, or at least like a primal understanding of life. Yeah, compared to like her eyes. But we don't want to go too deep into this film, so
we have 2 other movies to go through.
Yeah, we have that was only the first part of this trilogy that we can go through here. Second part is Mystery Girl.
All right, so
Yeah,
it starts on a beach in LA.
Yeah, it starts somewhere in LA. Yeah,
and there's a very muscular woman just kind of chilling.
She's like super strong looking. Like she looked like she could beat me up.
Yes. And then a woman comes out of the shadow and asks politely at first for that woman's face.
As you do. Yeah.
And of course, the Amazonian is
the Wonder Woman
is very confused and says
Yeah.
no. And then the mysterious shadow lurker comes at her with the knife and cuts off her face, and apparently that bleeds her to death. I cannot stress how like muscular this first murder victim looks, to the point where the fact there wasn't really a struggle is kind of weird to me.
I mean,
this does seem like a woman who could defend herself. She
yeah,
clearly hits the gym quite often.
yeah. I mean, this is kind of like a theme throughout the rest of the film, basically, too, where the person that's like the victim doesn't really ever give any sort of like resistance to the killer or to the maimer, whatever. They don't really ever give a resistance to it. They just kind of like let it happen, and then whatever happens, I suppose. I mean,
and the thing that happens is she cuts off their face.
Yeah, basically. And then you have like the best sort of PNG of just her skinless face laying on the ground, which made Ted laugh and me laugh.
Oh god,
and then,
the effect is so bad.
It was not good. Not good.
You can see the plastic. It is painfully a plastic face.
Yeah, all not good. But we go from there, and then we go immediately to a titty club.
Yes, we say titty club because the characters call it titty club.
Yeah, they do.
And at first, there's just some subpar dancing and a man dressed as a leather cowboy with a hat that says "fuck me."
It just says "fuck." Actually,
sorry, fuck.
I looked back at it. It just says that. Yeah.
Throwing dollar bills and women dancing, but not towards to the music or anything.
No, they're off. They're all off. This is obviously a poor or badly run titty bar, I guess.
And then the announcer comes on and says, "And introducing the mysterious and exotic mystery girl."
Yeah, and her biggest thing is flailing her arms with a cape.
Yeah, she comes out wearing a bra, underwear, a face mask, which in the apocalypse is stylish, but
Very stylish, yeah. She has like skulls on her nips.
Yes, and a cape on. And honestly, I could see this being an act.
Yeah, I could see it being like in a sort of purveyor of pleasure. Yeah.
And she's probably the most talented dancer. And then suddenly, when she gets like the interest of the client, just randomly flails her arms. I can't say randomly; it's kind of rhythmically. It's just sort of it's left and right and left and right while holding the cape, and it's not interesting at all.
No, I mean, okay, so let's go with this like a little bit more wordly descriptive here. So she has like a cape on, and from what I understand, it's mostly just to flail with their cape.
Yeah, well, it kind of from when she's spinning around the poles and everything.
You
can see the silhouette of her body, and then see a flash of most of it.
Yeah, I mean,
now if she eventually took off the cape and the other things, and maybe just kept the mask on to keep the mystery,
right? The mystery girl part of the mystery.
At least a original act.
Yeah, compared to what we got,
which is her doing okay dancing. I'm not going to say it wasn't enjoyable, and then randomly flailing and then leaving.
Yeah, almost immediately. Yeah.
Not making any money. There was no dollar bills thrown at this woman.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing as well. She does this dance, and then she stares into a client's face, and then the client runs away.
So I think the client, if you look really closely,
yeah,
the actress is wearing makeup on her face. So around her eyes, like you can clearly see a different skin tone.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be that she's wearing a different face underneath it. It doesn't look like that. It just looks like she's doing a fairly good job with her makeup, and then just gets bored around her eyes and doesn't complete it.
Right, like where she just kind of gives up at that certain point.
Like, legitimately, when you see her with her fake face on or another person's face, it just looks like she's wearing makeup and, like, something happened where she ran out of time and couldn't get close to her eyes.
Yeah. Yes. No, I agree. But, big thing too. Okay, so let's talk about like the motivation of this woman.
So, well, it actually is the next scene, anyways.
Yeah,
because it shows her in her secret lair,
which I assume is just at her apartment or something. I guess. Like I have no idea.
And she has several faces, just severed faces, hung up on her wall, which she talks to, and she refers to herself as their mother.
Yeah. All right.
And she talks about how they let her hide the fact that she's deformed and how she loves taking off faces because it makes her feel like less of a freak.
Yeah.
And she does have some scars on her face.
Not that bad, though.
Look, she does have a lot of them. I'm not saying it wasn't noticeable. The actress is still pretty even with them.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so here's where I'm going to go into this just a little bit. But, okay, her whole entire act, she has like a face mask on, right? So if she has the face mask on, she doesn't really need to wear like a different kind of face on top of that. No. So she can just do her job, which is currently just being like a stripper, and have this mystery girl like aesthetic if she just keeps the face thing on without like murdering other people, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I don't know why she feels. I mean, maybe it's that sort of she has to hide the one part of her that's deformed or has anything.
Right,
because she clearly is liked as a dancer.
Yeah, everyone likes her. They keep on throwing money at her, which she doesn't collect.
There's only one part of her that's bad, and even that, like, it's prevalent, but I've seen worse, and people just go about their lives.
Yeah, and just continue on.
This is one of those things where kind of the Georgia effect happens, where, you know, everyone has meth teeth, and they could cover it up and just choose not to. This is one of those things where it's like, you know, nowadays you can't just wear a mask, and after the whole pandemic thing and plagues and the apocalypse, it'd still probably be socially acceptable to wear a mask like that.
I mean, if she was in like the current kind of situation right now, right? Like, if you were to go to like I don't know, Big Booty Betta's or like whatever that place is called, Hurricane Betty's or whatever, and then you were to say like, oh, she's on there and she's dancing, but she has like a face mask on. Oh, that's kind of quaint.
Yeah,
All right,
I asked two friends of mine in Belgium to go to Amsterdam and tell me if the sex workers were wearing anything except a mask. I just want to know if that's the case.
right, okay.
So I know Brussels has now banned sex workers.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised about that.
I wouldn't be if it was for pandemic reasons.
Right,
It's
okay.
not, though. It's for prudish reasons.
Well, all right, here we are. That's a little late.
Yeah.
It's a little late to be that kind of prudish now. Honestly.
It's really weird. If they honestly said, no, we're putting a temporary suspend because, close
Pandemic.
contact, pandemic,
Yeah.
obviously not,
Yeah.
that'd be reasonable.
Right.
It's like, okay, no, we're not doing that because it's immoral and ruining our country. I'm like, well, it's going to be there. Now you just don't regulate it.
Yeah, you're right. So, to go back to the story,
Yes, before Ted gets on the legalization of so many things.
which we could go into, but before we get back into that, there is a different sort of character within this whole entire plot. The Agent 47, the
Yes.
detective,
Who I think is also a porn actress. An actor.
I would be so surprised if he's a porn actress.
No, he's just a muscular dude with like no body hair.
Yeah, no body hair on top, and then
He is definitely Agent 47. If you've played the Hitman games, you've seen this man.
Yeah.
He is Mr. Clean and went to Afghanistan.
Basically, yes. It's almost exactly like that. Yeah.
And him and his team are looking for the murderers.
Yeah.
And apparently there's been 13 killers or
Killings or murders.
whatever the word is, already.
Yeah.
And they have some very awkward conversation.
As you do in really bad films.
But only I feel like this was one of the more realistic things because they're talking about it's like, oh, look, he's talking to the investigator and this one other guy about it, and one of the guys that isn't Mr. Clean just goes, "Oh, the murder motive seems to be the stealing of faces." At which point they say, "No shit."
Yeah.
And there's one guy that's also there, who's forensic, and they're just waiting for him to finish eating a donut.
Well, it's like a donut or like a breakfast sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
like
it's something like that.
He's
just eating, and one hand has a coffee, and they're just waiting for him to finish to do something. But part of me feels like that was a perfectly realistic conversation. I'm not saying it's a movie quality conversation.
No,
I can imagine going, it's like, oh yeah, this sick bastard has a mutilation kick and took off their face. Like, really, I never would have guessed after the first 12 times.
Yeah.
And then they're just waiting for this one guy to do his job after he finishes his breakfast.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time too, just this throughout this whole entire film, there's like so many of these like takes and sequences where it goes and lingers on for like a very long amount of time. Like we cannot stress this enough, where they kind of just like focus in on like a certain thing that the actor is doing or actress is doing, and then they just do not cut.
Yes. Also, focus is not the word I'd use.
Because they have really bad at focusing.
They zoom in on the thing.
Yeah.
But do not focus the camera.
Yeah.
It's really weird because, like, this is supposed to be an erotic horror, so they're at the strip club. They zoom in on, like, the stage, but not directed at anybody. And it's too fuzzy to see anything.
Yeah.
And then they just linger for about 30 seconds.
Not good filmography, I would say.
No. It's really bad.
Yeah. So, by the way, the guy who produced this, directed it, wrote it, is a man by the name of Glenn Danzig. Glenn Danzig is a is a famous musician who is in charge of like a couple like different bands and everything.
Like what?
Like Misfits.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So he's.
I feel like that's. I feel I have a lesser opinion of the Misfits now.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. But one of the big things is he's a very funny character just to kind of like look at, just because he goes to certain places and he presents this very like rock and very like heavy metal kind of like persona, but then he's like carrying kitty litter, so like you know what I mean, like where it has like that kind of thing to it.
Kevin, you do know how you clean up vomit, right?
Kitty litter.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fair enough, but I'm just saying like the image of that is still funny.
Yes, I suppose that does explain a bit of the movie.
Yeah.
look, Kevin, I'm not going to go into detail for the sake of brevity.
Yeah.
No, actually, we're not that far into the recording, so I guess I could go.
Yeah.
But however, I don't want to say, and then this woman kills several more hot people, and the detective eventually catches on. And it's kind of stupid how he catches on, because it's not like he put together clues or anything. His very attractive assistant, who was not in a scene prior to this,
Yeah.
comes up.
It just picks up a card.
Yeah, picks up a card from next to a murder victim, and it's a titty bar card.
Called
I don't remember.
Pussycats.
Pussycats.
The most generic name you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
But
so boring.
it is, but also on the same kind of like assumption. Let's just say like you found like you're a detective, right?
Yes.
Ted the detective. So you found a card at the murder scene. You immediately assume that the card is linked to the killer, and the killer is a apparent like sex worker. No, that doesn't make sense.
No, I would assume it was something the victim was holding
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So you would assume like so many different things before going to like the giant leap of, oh, the person that obviously killed this person right here is obviously mystery girl slash.
Now, if they did a little bit of establishing and had this particular detective go to the strip club.
Well, he
on
does
his
go to the
off
strip
time,
club.
On
Yeah.
his off time, like previously prior to that.
Yeah. Okay.
And like have seen this mystery girl, that'd be one thing. If it showed him talking to the man that ran out after seeing mystery girl up close, that'd be another thing. But no, there isn't that.
No.
So he goes to the strip club, and the bouncer out front starts giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
He threatens him and let in. He marches back, and one of mystery girl's friends, apparently,
yeah, they don't really establish that at all.
Warns her ahead of time and covers for her.
Yeah. Runs interference.
That's the exact term. Does it very poorly. Only plays it for like 10 seconds.
2 seconds, really? Yeah.
You know, a few sentences. They kind of like fake thinking things over before moving aside.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the changing room, and a bunch of women harass this cop for a while.
Yeah, as they do.
I mean, you know, from the sounds of it like this might have happened before. It's like, no, you're just looking for free sex.
Yeah. They kind of like immediately pin him with like, well, you're only back here just to kind of like blackmail us with like free sex, basically.
Yeah, it's like, oh yes, you found cocaine back here. Unless we blow you, we get it.
Yeah, like traditional kind of stuff there. But no, this is the man that's on a mission.
Yes, and eventually one of them tells the cop what direction mystery girl ran.
Well, not with words, but just with like symbolism, I guess.
Like points with like this big shit-eating
grin.
It's like that way.
Yeah, and then he's like, at least one of you girls has a brain, I suppose. See you later, whores. And then he just like goes into that direction where she went in.
Yes, and he starts like talking out loud to her.
Right, like announcing that he's there, of course.
And
as a cop should do.
And she sneaks up behind him and puts a knife to his face.
Yep, cuts him, and
he complains about it.
Yeah.
And then it shows a gun facing forward.
Yeah.
And firing twice. And then she gets shot twice, despite that making no sense.
Okay, so here's my theory. All right. So she went behind him and then cut him. Right. He then kind of like threw her forward a little bit with his body,
and then drew and fired twice.
Yeah. Well, he already had his gun out.
Okay, then fired twice.
Yeah, then fired twice, and then from there, she escaped.
Yes, but she's bleeding.
Yep, bleeding out. But at the same time, too, 6 months later, what do we see, Ted?
Mysteria at a different titty bar dancing.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite things about that ending scene is Mysteria, a.k.a. Mystery Girl, a.k.a. the murderer. She gets like paid $100 bill by like a dude, right? And she just tears the $100 bill in half and just like throws it on the ground and just leaves.
She's not in it for the money, Kevin.
No, she's just in it for
the lust of it.
The lust of it?
Yeah.
The lust of us?
That's a totally different video game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Part of me now wants to look up The Lust of Us, and part of me does not want to look at. And thankfully, the part of me that does not is much larger.
Yeah, much stronger than the part that does. Okay. So Ted, we talked about the first two anthology films in this whole series here.
Yes, and the third one is take two, is by far the most boring
Yep.
and the least original.
Yeah, I would agree totally with that. So Ted, what is the third film about?
All right, there's an ancient legend about some countess who bathed in the blood of virgins to keep her youth.
Okay, so you're saying that's based off of historical history.
Yes.
All right, so what does this film do to kind of like, you know, try to encroach on that? Not encroach, but like try to like progress on that kind of
Well,
idea.
it shows the countess
Yeah,
having a bunch of women she either bought or kidnapped, all blonde, all young,
yeah.
and then it's murder porn, as they are generally naked or at least topless, and their throats are slit, and she bathes in their blood and rubs it into her face.
So wait a second, Ted. You're saying that a film by Glenn Danzig, one of the most amazing people ever, is only a murder porn film about nothing else but a woman who goes naked and just bathes in blood?
Yes, over and over again, multiple times, way too many times. There is no plot to this. It just the same thing happens a few times, and
Okay,
the countess's assistant is way too excited about this.
she's like wicked excited about this. Yeah,
Yeah, she has a assistant, and she's the only redheaded woman in this entire movie.
probably the entire country really, but
Yeah, yeah, especially in the third movie,
yeah.
and she is almost excited about all this blood as the woman gaining immortality from it.
No, she's like looks like she's orgasming from some of this.
It
Really,
really looks like she's getting off on this. I cannot stress that enough. I didn't want to be the one to say that first, but Kevin has now breached that barrier, and yes, she is clearly loving
loving that.
this.
Yeah. So okay,
Like,
Ted.
more
So,
than the person getting immortality. I cannot stress that enough.
yeah. So Ted, what you're saying currently, right now, if I can understand it, is that there's a entire section of the film that doesn't have any point to it, but just to show a woman bathing in blood.
Yes, and
Okay.
women dying and bleeding.
Okay. So if we were to kind of like go off of that just like a little bit, like try to take like some sort of logical leaps there, um, would you say that a person that would be interested in those kind of things would be a sick individual?
Believe it or not, kinda would be my answer.
Okay.
I know people have weird stuff and likes and kinks and all that.
Yeah.
I'm not, unless they act on them, I'm not willing to say they're disgusting people. You can't help what you're interested in.
All right, Ted. What if I were to say to you, right, that I was to make an entire film about this and then put money into it and put a production team into it and then make these actresses do it?
I would question your financial logic.
Okay, so you wouldn't question my morals or anything else than that. You would just question my financial logic.
Yes, I would really wonder what market you're trying to tap into here.
Okay, so what would
Look,
you say
Kevin,
about
look,
this
Kevin.
film?
Sick, weird stuff is going to be made and consumed. I'm just accepting that as a fact of life.
Okay,
And as long as no
especially during the apocalypse
yeah, as long as no one actually slits someone's throat and bathes in the blood.
of not virgins because they don't say that
No,
word.
they say untouched. I think.
Well, they say like virgins.
Oh god, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's fine. I I know a lot of people who are into some weird role play stuff. I really can't argue.
Okay, understood, Ted. I see where you're standing on this.
Kevin, as long as there's consent, whatever.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough, Ted.
Now, Kevin, if you were the one to do this, I would say that explains a lot.
Ah. You can't see this, viewers, but I'm just holding up my middle finger right at Ted right now, and yeah, it's deserved because I've never. What? Fuck you. All right. So
Sorry, Kevin, you were asking for that.
I wasn't asking for that. Whatever.
Kind of were.
I put you on the spot. All right, that's fair enough, I guess. So okay. I mean, that was basically like the last part of the film. The only highlights from that last part would probably be the mechanical head with like the bulging eye and everything.
Oh God,
Yeah. Like
they show a severed head, and
the special effects are funny.
yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah, along with like tons of women that have the same blood pressure as Ted.
Yes, and that is if they prick their skin, like someone 8 feet away might get some blood on them. Like this guy.
Yes, and then just showers them. But so
Oh God, it's so
it's not great, but
real. Honestly, that's probably the weirdly enough the least weird of the movies, I'd say, because at least there's some like it's not an original idea.
okay, so
I'm still surprised there isn't a plot there, or like if the woman became slowly more vampiric or demonic,
right,
I
right.
would think that'd be more interesting. But like, I'd say it's probably like the least weird of the movies. You know, it isn't the first surreal one where it becomes a vampire spawn from nipple eyes.
E-
Not vampire spawn, spider spawn. Spider spawn. Spider
Spider
spawn.
spawn, born from a nipple eye. What she do? She goes around, breaks some necks of some whores. Watch out! It's the nipple spider. So
Or at least the second one is, a serial killer that,
takes off faces.
yeah, like that's at least intriguing.
Okay, so
The third one, it's like, okay, this is a legend that I know exists.
right,
What are
right,
they going to do with it? Nothing?
nothing.
So not only did you not make up an original idea, you didn't do anything
With it, yeah.
the legend you stole.
Uh okay. So let's talk like a little bit about how we would make this like better.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't make it. That's how I make it better.
Well, okay. So
Okay,
besides that, like you're contractually obligated to have to make this thing. Glenn Danzig went up to you and said, like, "Okay, dude, you have to make this thing. I'm giving you $1 million."
okay, is it all the movies or just the third one?
I would say, you know what? Let's just go with all of them.
All right. First movie,
Yeah,
I would give some background on the nipple eyes.
yeah. Give her some like, okay, right.
I would have the spider thing have more communication with her, and have the murder victims be chosen because of like slights they've done to Pixie Bob.
Yeah, instead of just like whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's how I'd make that, and
I
then
dig
I'd
that.
have the police be way more freaked out when they're killing the spider demon.
Yeah, as they should be because it's a spider demon.
Second movie, I would have the woman's original face be way more deformed, and I'd have the victims fight back more.
Oh, instead of just like accepting the fact that they got skinned.
Yes, and I'd make the people actually practice some dances before being at a strip club,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'd focus the camera.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's asking a lot from Glenn
Yeah.
Danzig, but sure.
Third movie, I would have the Countess become prettier at first, and probably through makeup or something, and
Right.
then
Right.
have her become more demonic. Possibly the demon succubus tiefling thing that was interesting if she slowly became
Oh,
her.
right. Like she like grew some horns or
Yes,
something like that. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
then possibly have to like abandon her castle because of revolt or something.
Oh, right. Like all the peasants and town
Yeah, like
people kind of just like go against her,
yeah,
making a more interesting story. Okay. So I think all three of those ideas are much better than what we got. Here's what I would do.
okay, I'm listening, Kevin.
Okay. So for the first story, I would have it be more like what you said in the beginning, which would be while we're watching the film, you thought it was all in her mind and she actually killed the people.
Yes, I thought it was a Fight Club scenario originally.
Yeah, and I think that would be much more interesting than having it just be a weird Spider-Man. So I would rather have that be the kind of case where she just like chokes out and kills everybody. She has like some sort of insomnia where she has like a split personality or something, and
Yeah,
then she does that.
she cracks under
Yeah,
the pressure of her deformity or something.
yeah, and then just like goes and kills
Yeah.
people.
Possibly has two souls, like what our thought is, and there's
Yeah,
the angry one that comes out when she's asleep.
yeah, something like that. That would be much better. Second one with the mystery girl. I would say maybe having it have like I don't know something more where she has to like wear the faces, but the faces rot over time. So she has to wear these faces just because she doesn't want to like appear like ugly and everything. And she appears as like different actresses during like the
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah, just like she is like a character in it, but she appears as like different people like doing the dance and everything under
Yeah,
the
sort
same
of the
synonym.
many faced god from Game of Thrones sort of thing.
Yeah, like the same kind of like idea, but like she takes like these people's like
Mhm.
face and personality and just like puts them on and then dances as them. I think that would be cooler. And as for the third one, I would rather have it be instead of focusing on the evil woman who just cuts people and just like bathes in their blood. Have it be one of the girls like from the beginning that she instead just like tries to find a way to get out of her like grasp and tries to focus the story on trying to get away from this evil weird person that tries to kill you, and have the story focus on that.
Yeah, those are all way better ideas in this movie.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, Ted. Are you a famous singer who can have money to produce like a terrible comic?
No.
Neither am I, so here we are. Um, but Ted, what would you rate Veronica? Let's go with a rating. I have to think about this for a second here. Um, okay. Um, out of how many strip clubs would you rate this?
Honestly, Kevin, that is way tamer than I thought your rating system was going to be.
I would rather go with something less tame. So what do you think?
Well, I thought you were going to go with nipple tears.
Okay, so you know what, Ted? Yet again,
Yes, and I would,
how many nipple tears
well,
out of 10 would you rate this?
out of 10?
Out of 10 nipple tears,
2.
2 nipple tears out of 10. Okay,
Yes.
can you explain why?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we went over the acting was bad, the effects were bad, the story were bad.
Only 2 nipple tears, Ted.
Yes, if it wasn't for...
Out of 10.
Actually, I'm trying to figure out why I gave it more than 1.
Okay. So you laughed.
Yeah, I guess if it wasn't for the fact that I got some enjoyment from it,
Okay.
it would have been 1, if not 0.
All right, 0 nipple tears out of 10.
It's not. It's 2. I got 2
Yeah.
nipple tears worth. Now, interesting enough, I was going to say...
If you were to milk these nipple tears, you only got 2 out.
Yeah,
I get you,
see,
yeah.
Kevin, put out of 10, and I'm glad you did this, because I would have put it from 0 to 2. I mean...
Because there's only 2. That kind of makes sense,
It's not crying nipples, single tear from the nipples, or crying nipples.
Oh, I see. But I put it to 10, so you have to give it a
So
score.
10.
So here we are.
Kevin, how many nipple
Tears
did you
out of
give
10
this
when I give
movie?
it. Because I'm a 4 eyes, I give it 4 out of 10 nipple tears. All right, so
Okay, no. Now I have a question. Can she see from her nipples?
that's a really good question. So okay. So let's go off this more than the author and the writer kind of went through with this here.
Kevin,
Yeah.
I just figured out what my character for next week is going to be.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Don't leave any of that in right now. Just leave it for that.
I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just saying stay tuned, people.
You're gonna find out a great character.
Or not. I might make multiple characters. I'm not sure yet.
Oh God. Okay. So here's the thing. I found a lot of enjoyment from this film. One of my favorite things about this film is like the pretense of having a film be a film, but in actuality, this film is mostly a bunch of filming about women grinding on things and grinding on poles or like whatever. This is funny in that way.
Yeah, but it's not a good pretense. I mean,
no, not really, but
it's not even that. It's I feel like, look, they could have had them doing hotter things.
Well, okay, fair enough. But at the same time too, the effects were funny, the acting was god awful, the story was stupid.
Yes, but I'm not. These are not positive things. These are negative things you enjoyed.
So, in terms of like a bad film, right? I would rather the film not be boring.
That's true.
So,
but still, even if it's bad films, I feel like this was not great for a bad film. It was overly like
first 2/3 were great.
Yeah, the third movie was awful, or vignette, whatever. What's it called?
Anthology, I guess. Like the third,
whatever it is. The
third
film
third short
was just boring. It really ends on a dull note.
Okay, it ends on a dull note, but the animatronics / the effects at like the last part of the film with like how the head changes like every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
from,
but
like,
that's
the
only
scene.
for maybe 30 seconds total.
Yeah. No, I agree.
They could have done more.
No. This whole film is they could have done more. this whole film's meaning of life is I could have done more with it.
It really is.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm giving it like 4 out of 10 as compared to like 1 or 2 or your score, like whatever,
Two. My
two.
score's two.
Yeah, I know. Just saying. Is because I appreciate the badness of this film and how it kind of makes me laugh and have a good time with that. Especially the 2/3 of the film, which are the beginning. The last third you can totally skip, and then you would just have fun and enjoyment just from like the first like 2/3. You could totally skip like the last part and have no repercussions from that whatsoever.
All right, Kevin. And now, with those two combined, that's an average of 3 nipple tears.
And then the fourth nipple tier is just for the soundtrack, because I think the soundtrack wasn't bad.
Fair. Yeah.
I also bought this on Blu-ray, so I have to like give it like a bump up score.
And with that, I think we'll close. Now, sneak peek for possible next week. A friend of mine has said that he is willing to make the $250 donation. I'm still waiting to see it on the GoFundMe. And if that happens, well then, I have a new religion, and I'm going to have to start studying. I'm not going to go into details yet.
Yep, and you'll have to find out more next time. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for enjoying our great commentary about a great film.
Yep, and try not to cry from your eyes or your nipples.
Especially from your nipples, because that would be weird.
Yes, if you are crying for your nipples, seek medical help immediately.
The lactation of your nipples should be looked into. But let's go from that, Ted, and say one very important thing. Please, best that you can, stay safe, wear a mask on your nipples and everywhere else.
And have your pets spayed and neutered. I don't know where we're going with this.
I don't know either, but that was like not somewhere I was going to go for. But all right, that's fine. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you all next time.
Have a good one.
Bye.